Hello once again. Welcome to today's discussion on A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. And commonly we all know about William Shakespeare, the greatest English playwright and a dramatist, and also a poet and an actor and a sonneteer. So being one of the greatest writer in the English history, we see of him contributing more than 30 plays, 154 sonnets and 3 long narrative poems. And towards the successive eras and time, we see that many of his works are in continuous studies, interpretation, criticism, and research. So we see of him being not only the father of English literature, but building a successful career in theatre that influenced the succeeding time and space. So none other than Shakespeare, who has given the history of English literature known works like Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, which are all infused with comedies, tragedies, history, politics, and majorly spanning from the time of 1589 to 1613. And looking forward, that some of his literary works are categorized into 4 periods. They are the period of apprenticeship, In the World, Sadness and Philosophical Contemplation, and period of calmness and serenity. Now if we talk about the comedies and tragedies in particular, we see that most of his works are having certain common elements like opposing forces and actions, presence of both antagonist and protagonist, tragic hero who is having a tragic flaw, and then rising and falling action. And in the comedies we also see intermingling of the supernatural with the natural. Now here natural means the human world, the expected world, and also in the tragedies we see interplay of history and politics, which is also evident in the comedies and histories definitely. The 2 other important elements are interlinked philosophy and morality, and definitely each of the character has certain growth and development. Now moving on to A Midsummer Night's Dream, we see it was published in the year 1600, and we see it has been divided into 5 different acts. So each of the acts are set in a way that they give introduction to certain characters, gives way to certain evolvement in the progress of the thoughts. And we also see that this particular 5-act play are all connected by a celebration of marriage, love, establishment of community and union. And this doesn't only mean the union of human characters, but also the supernatural along with the, now here supernatural is something that is beyond the natural expectation. So intermingling of men, women with fairies and clowns and so on. So we see as an audience and a reader, we are constantly revolving within a tone of laughter and comedy. Now as we move on, we see that the summary of the whole plot becomes about 3 love strands, that is between Theseus and Hippolyta, Hermia and Lysander, Demetrius and Helena. And also we see a union on the other side amongst the fairies like the Oberon, the king of fairies, and Titania, the queen of fairies. Now we also see a very mischievous character coming up, who is the Puck, who is given a responsibility of collecting a flower, and this very flower is ordered by Oberon, the king of the fairies, in order to turn certain events. So this very juice of the flower twists the plot towards the end, and it is this very twist and turns that we very commonly valorize of this particular romantic comedy. And then we see that, most of his characters are gentle, kind, merry and humorous. And certainly in this particular romantic comedy, we also see that there are array of heroines and heroes who are intermingled within the theme of love and establishment of marriage. So we see on one hand the men of his comedy are young and handsome, while on the other hand we see the heroines are accomplished, however having certain suppressed voices. Now in the city of Athens, what do we see is that there is a law whereby we see that the father has the right to find a suitor for his daughter and get her married, and the girl need not have any desire or wish in marrying the same suitor, but is obliged to obey the father. But if she does not, then there might be severe consequences like punishment and sometimes leading to death. And who is the Duke of Athens? It is none other than Theseus. So one fine day we see Aegeus, father of Hermia, a female character or a heroine, comes and kind of sets a complaint in front of the Duke of Athens, the Theseus, and we see that he is saying that his daughter refuses to marry Demetrius, who is a noble person, and on the other hand, she is defending herself by saying that Demetrius is already having affectionate feelings towards Helena, who seems to be Hermia's friend. On the other hand, Hermia has affections towards Lysander, another Athenian. So we see that already we are introduced with the four hero and heroines together, and we see Demetrius falling in love with Helena and Hermia falling in love with Lysander. Now, Duke of Athens is obliged to follow the laws and strict regulations, but he allows Hermia to take 4 days and ensure that she is able to prove her defense, and she is given time of 4 days. And amidst these days we see that the plot revolves on the actions of Theseus' interests in marrying Hippolyta. On the other hand, we see that there are certain acts taking place between Lysander, Hermia, Helena and Demetrius. Without wasting any time, we see Lysander and Hermia meeting in the woods, where they plan to escape to the aunt's house, which is far from Athens, where the Athenian law of marriage is not in force, and he asked Hermia to come to that wood and meet him so that they can elope to the aunt's place, where they can get married and wed and then live happily. But amidst this plan, we see that Puck is asked by Oberon to get hold of the little purple flower with which the juice can be extracted, and that can be used as a potion, which if little drops of it on the eyelids can cause that person to wake up and do the thing which he actually sees the first time. Now, who asks Puck to get the purple flower? It is Oberon, the king of fairies. So we see that both the stories of the human world and the fairy world are going simultaneously, which allow us to set the action through our eyes in both two different worlds. So we see Oberon ordering Puck to get the purple flower. Now, when Puck was gone to get the flower, Oberon saw Demetrius and Helena. So he finds out that Demetrius was approaching Helena. But however, he has been a very merciful and a kind king when it comes to true lovers. So when Puck returned with the flower, he ordered Puck to apply the juice or the potion a little on the eyes of the disdainful youth Demetrius, so that when he wakes up, he is able to see Helena and he is able to get united with Helena. But in the meantime, we see that in the words, when Hermia and Lysander was wanting to reach the aunt's house, and they started walking through the wood, and as they walked half through the path, they felt extremely tired. So Hermia and Lysander decided to sleep in order to wake up the next morning and then reach their destination at the aunt's house. But meanwhile, what happens is that when the two lovers Hermia and Lysander were asleep, we see that Lysander was sleeping next to Hermia but little distant. But meanwhile, Puck sees Lysander but unaware of who Lysander is and confuses him for Demetrius, he pours the juice of the little flower into Lysander's eye instead of Demetrius. So this very mistake twists the plot. So gradually, when Lysander opens and sees Helena instead of Hermia, who was also in the woods, he begins to chase Helena with his love speech and affection. Seeing the strange behavior of Lysander, Helena becomes very curious and also annoyed and begins to look for Demetrius. So she feels that Lysander is either fooling her because she knew that Lysander is in love with Helena, so his strange behavior was all the more scaring, and on the other hand, she believed that might be he is fooling her. Then she meets Hermia, who is also herself confused of Lysander's behavior. So on the other hand, we see that Demetrius, who had fallen due to fatigue, is now found by Oberon, and he understands that it was Puck's mistake who had applied the love charm to the wrong person's eyes. So he now touches the eyelids of the sleeping Demetrius, who was sleeping due to fatigue, and he sees that once he wakes up, he again finds Helena beside, and therefore his love is accentuated. And then now both Lysander and Demetrius are chasing Helena, and meanwhile Helena is being more shocked and astonished by the behaviors of the both, and she feels that it is actually her her friend Hermia and Demetrius and Lysander who are intending to fool her. Now Puck is highly accused by Oberon and is being constantly bantered on, and he asks to pour another drop of the juice into Lysander's eyes so that he could forget Helena the next day when he wakes up and return to his old passion and love, Hermia. Now, as the plot between Demetrius, Helena, Hermia, and Lysander revolves, we also see that Oberon is suffering from Titania's undesired love for the clown, who is actually a donkey-headed person. And now what caused her accentuation of affection towards this donkey-headed person is that Oberon intended to get the juice initially for Titania, as they had a very sad disagreement going on, because there was a disagreement causing because of a changeling boy whom Oberon wanted, but Titania refused to give because it was Titania's friend who died giving birth to the changeling boy whom Oberon wanted as his own son, and therefore he wanted that this love potion could be used when Titania is asleep, and in order to break the charm, he would have asked Titania for the changeling boy. But when she wakes up after the potion was dropped on her eyelids, and the next day she finds a clown was also sleeping next to her. So as she wakes up, she falls for this donkey-headed, wise and beautiful clown, and she calls upon the fairies to attend a communion between the donkey-headed clown and Titania. In order to break the charm, Oberon demanded to give the changeling boy to him, and Titania accepts because she was ashamed to be caught embracing the love and affection towards a donkey-headed clown, and they are again reunited as the charm is broken, and the changeling boy is now given to Oberon, and he becomes their only son. Now Oberon and Titania are both reconciled, and on the other hand, we also see that Hermia and Lysander, along with Demetrius and Helena, all have been reunited, and the complaint of Hermia's father was also now rejected, and Helena and Hermia also became friends once again, since they were no longer rivals, and the confusion was now reduced down to a union. So at the end we say that Shakespeare tells through Puck that if the audience and readers finds the incidents and actions strange and incredible, then they can think of this particular story and a plot as dreaming narrative. So this very beautiful plot is taking us to the human world, and alongside we see a world of fairies and clowns. We also see that Theseus and Hippolyta discover these sleeping lovers in the woods and takes them back to Athens, where they get married, and this particular group wedding becomes a very valorization of this particular romantic comedy. And towards the end we see Puck reminding the audience for his forgiveness and approval also, and to urge it to remember that the play has been narrated or has been a part of a beautiful dream. So hope you have liked this easy tutorial, and if you want a detailed analysis of all the acts, please comment and do subscribe if you like. Thank you all.